is your favourite vegetable? Do you know what country or countries it grows in? Hello everyone, I'm Kathleen Pelly. Welcome to Journey with Story. Wondering how many of you know where your favourite vegetable comes from? Those of us who live in cities often don't even think about such things, as we can just go to our local supermarket and buy almost whatever vegetable we want. But that's not the case in many poorer and more rural parts of the world. And today's story is a folktale from Ghana in Africa that tells us how the vegetables yams came to the Ashanti people who live there. Before we begin, remember, if you haven't yet written a review for our podcast, please take a moment to do so now wherever you listen to your podcasts, as it really helps our outreach to listeners in all parts of the world. Thank you. And remember, we'll be offering our Journey with Story t-shirts and colouring books for sale on our website very soon, so check out our episode notes for more details. Let's take a journey with how yams came to the Ashanti. One hot day, a traveller who was journeying through the Ashanti region showed a yam to a local man called Abu. It is said that there were no yams in Ashanti at that time, and sometimes the people were without food. "If only we could grow yams," Abu said to his friends. "Then when drought comes, we could still have something to eat." The traveller explained that after harvesting, the vegetable could last for months. So Abu decided to try and find yams for his people to plant. He planned his journey, and then, taking weapons for his protection, he set off in search of the vegetable. Travelling on foot, he asked the people living in the lands through which he journeyed if they knew where the country was where he could find yams. At times they pointed in one direction, and at other times they directed him in the opposite way. But at last, having travelled many kilometres, he found the country where yams grow. Looking out at the fields where the climbing yam plants with their edible tubers grew abundantly, Abu became very excited. He was so eager to acquire them that he asked the people of that country to show him where the king lived. Then, when he arrived at the house of the ruler, Abu said, "We have no yams in Ashanti. Our people are hungry because they do not have food. If you give me some of your valuable crop, I could take the yams back to my country and plant them, and thus prevent starvation." "Give me time to think about it," said the king, "but young man, you may stay in my guest house." After a few days, the king summoned Abu. Pacing up and down, he said, "It would be good to assist your people, but when they are well fed and strong, they might want to wage war against their neighbours who are not so strong." The king looked anxious as he spoke. "Don't be worried," Abu said to the king. "By nature, my people are peace-loving, so you would not have this problem. I know that hungry people go to war and use conflict as a way out of their distress, but if my people were well fed, there would be no need for war." "Ah, I see that you are a man with great plans, Abu. It might be too risky to assist you," added the king. Abu looked dejected. He wanted nothing more than to bring food to his hungry people. The king was silent for a while, and then, scratching his chin, he said, "If you send me one of your men to stay here as a hostage, I will assist you with the yams." Now, Abu was one of many sons. He travelled quickly back to his father and said, "Please, father, could you offer one of your sons to the king of the country where yams grow? The young man will stay there as a hostage, but we would be able to bring a vegetable back to this country that would prevent our people from starving." But Abu's father could not bear to part with any of his sons and refused to release any of them for this purpose. "Can you imagine me sending one of my sons as a hostage?" said Abu's father. Abu then went to his brothers and asked if any of them were prepared to offer their sons for this cause. But all declined. Showing great determination, Abu then journeyed from the place of the Ashanti and went back to the king to explain that he could not find anyone to send as a hostage. "Without collateral, I cannot offer you the yams," said the king. The young man Abu was crushed. He was acting in the best interests of the Ashanti people, yet they would not cooperate with him. On his long journey home in the sweltering heat, Abu suddenly thought of approaching his sister. "Abu," she cried, "I only have one son. I would be childless if my son were to go to the Yam country. You are young, Abu, but if you had a child, you would understand why I am reluctant to send him." "Then I can do nothing about the situation," said Abu, disappointed. "Bringing yams back to this country would really help to alleviate hunger." Abu's sister listened to her brother attentively, and when she realized that the yams would improve the lives of so many people, she unselfishly agreed to let her young son go. Once again, Abu undertook the journey, and when he returned to the king with his sister's son, the king took the boy into his own home, and Abu was delighted when the king gave Abu the yams as an exchange. Carrying the yam tubers with him in a large, wide bowl, Abu hurried back to the Ashanti people. They quickly planted the yams in rock-hard, dry soil and waited for the rains to bring them to life. When the first rains fell on the parched land, the vines put out leaves as a sign of growth, and the people became very excited. And in time there were so many yams planted by the Ashanti that they became one of the most important crops in that region. Abu then decided that because his father and brothers refused to send a son, he would not have contact with them anymore. "My sister did this noble thing," Abu told a friend. "She gave her son so that we all could be kept from starvation, so I will honor her." "How?" asked Abu's friend. "On my death, all my property will become the right of her son who went to live in the country of the Yams, so that we, the Ashanti, could eat." And so it was that when Abu passed away, his sister's son, not his own son or brothers, inherited his land and cattle. The Ashanti people exclaimed, "What a wonderful thing Abu has done in bringing yams to the Ashanti. In memory of this event, we will do the same." From that day onwards, when an Ashanti man dies, his sister's sons inherit his possession. Well, wasn't that an interesting tale about how the Ashanti people were saved from starvation by a young boy and his kind mother who made such a sacrifice by letting her son go? Maybe the next time you find yourself eating your favourite vegetable, you might remember this story and be grateful to all the farmers who plant our crops all over the world so that we have food to eat. Cheerio then. Join me next time for Journey with Story. Music and post-production was by Colette Jonas.